All righty, ladies, we've made it to Psalm 84. My soul longs for the courts of the Lord. Ditto from Chrissy. To the choir master, according to the Gittith, a psalm of the sons of Korah. What you got, Kathy?
God's living presence is our greatest joy. His radiant presence helps us grow in strength, grace, and glory.
My Bible has a little side note here for this psalm. It says, the psalmist desired nothing more than to be with God. This psalm seems to indicate that at that moment, the psalmist, likely a Levite who normally served in the temple, did not have the physical access his soul desired. In the first stanza, he gave the readers an illustration. While the psalmist found himself away from the temple, nothing hindered the birds from staying as long as they desired. The psalmist would go on to pen that one day in the temple courts was better than a thousand elsewhere. That reminds me of that song. He would sing that the blessed dwell in that temple. These sparrows and swallows enjoyed the highest of privileges, never having to leave God's house. Since the fall, humanity suffers from this separation. The Gospel of John says that Jesus came and made his dwelling among humans in John 1:14. He bridged the gulf caused by human sin and made a way for mankind to be made right with God once more. God's people, like the birds in this psalm, enjoy unfettered access to God through this Christ. Kim, are you up to reading this morning?
Yes, I can. All right. 84. How lovely is your temple, O Lord of the armies of heaven. I long, yes, faint with longing to be able to enter your courtyard and come near to the living God. Even the sparrows and swallows are welcome to come and nest among your altars and there have their young. O Lord of heaven's armies, my King, O my God, how happy are those who can live in your temple singing your praises. Happy are those who are strong in the Lord, who want above all else to follow your steps. When they walk through the valley of weeping, it will become a place of springs where pools of blessing and refreshment collect after rains. They will grow constantly in strength, and each of them is invited to meet with the Lord in Zion. 8. O Jehovah, God of the heavenly armies, hear my prayer. Listen, God of Israel. O God, our defender and our shield, have mercy on the one you have anointed as your king. A single day spent in your temple is better than 1,000 any else. I would rather be a doorman of the temple of my God than live in palaces of wickedness.
Hmm.
For Jehovah God is our light and our protector. He gives us grace and glory. No good thing will he withhold from those who walk along his paths. O Lord of the armies of heaven, blessed are those who trust in you.
Wow. Any thoughts? Any other?
I just like this concordance real quick from 1 through 4. The writer longed to get away from the bustling world to meet God inside his dwelling place, his holy temple. We can meet God anywhere at any time, but we know that going into a church building can help us step aside from the busy mainstream of life so we can quietly meditate and pray. We find joy and strength not only in the prayers, music, lessons, and sermons, but also in fellowship with other believers in this special place. So, all them Christians who say they don't have to go to church, Psalm 84 says,
I don't know, like I don't know how I would have survived different events and periods in my life had I not been surrounded by Christians who prayed for me when I couldn't pray, held me when I cried, gave me advice so that I'd make the godlier decision. You know what I mean? Like I don't know how you call yourself a Christian and not be in community. And I don't know how you, like, the job of a Christian is to create disciples. How do you create disciples if you're not in community?
I agree, Chrissy.
Yep. Hey, Lori, that part that you read, would you send that to me?
Oh, I don't know.
She'll try.
Just take a
Kathy's better at it than I am, and Kathy and I have. Is it yours the same, Kathy? You're muted.
You're muted, dear.
Yeah, it was pretty much the same. It was a little bit different, but it was basically the same. I'll try to send it.
Oh,
Please
wait.
do. They
I'm
were
right.
easy words that my son would really, really understand.
I can take a picture of it, but I don't know how to send it.
I
Well,
really
that
like,
would help me.
I can do it too if Kathy can't get it.
Okay,
like-
whoever. I don't care.
I have a concord or a footnote in 84:11. This verse does not promise that God will give us everything we think is good, but that he will not withhold what is permanently good. He will give us the means to walk along his paths, but we must do the walking. When we obey him, he will not hold anything back that will help us continue to live for him.
I think I got it.
Thank you.
Did it work?
Something came
I'm gonna
through.
look. Did it? Okay, then it worked. Because I
Yes,
don't know how
it
to
did.
look. I don't know how to look till we're off here.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay, 84. Anybody else have anything they want to share before I read John
I'd just
MacArthur?
like to ask Kim if she would read verse 6 again, please.
Yes. When they walk through the valley of weeping, it will become a place of springs where pools of blessing and refreshment collect after the rains.
Okay, thank you.
Mine says Valley of Baca.
Yeah,
That's
mine
what
does
mine
too.
says.
Mine
Yeah.
does too,
Mine too.
Kathy.
So it's weeping. Valley weeping.
My Bible says the valley of weeping is probably not an actual place. It is symbolic of a dry valley miraculously turned into fertile land by rains.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, that, like, spiritually, that's very deep.
Yes.
Yeah. The person who loves to spend time in God's presence will view adverse circumstances as opportunities to experience God's faithfulness and blessing anew.
Yep, that's what I had.
I'm not
too.
sure that I always see it as an opportunity when I'm in it after the fact.
It's addressed in our commentaries.
Okay. All right. John MacArthur, 1 to 12 overview. This psalm, like other psalms of ascent, like Psalms 120 through 134, expresses the joy of a pilgrim traveling up to Jerusalem, then up into the temple to celebrate one of the feasts. The pilgrim focuses his attention especially on the thought of being in the very presence of the Lord God. The New Testament believer, priest, in a greater way, can come into the presence of the Lord. And then he references Hebrews 4:16, 10, 19 through 22. So Roman numeral 1 through 4, the expectation of worshiping. And then Roman numeral 2, 5 through 7 is the expedition to worship God. And then Roman numeral 3 is 8 through 12, the elation of worshiping.
Can you repeat that last one, please?
Yes. 8 through 12 is the elation, elation, at worshiping. The title to the Gittith, oh, it just says see note. Okay. Sons of Korah. These descendants of Levi through Kohath were the gatekeepers and musicians in the temple at Jerusalem. Verse 1, lovely is your dwelling place. The temple worship center was lovely because it enabled the Old Testament saint to come into the presence of God. Hosts represent Lord of hosts. Host represents God's angelic armies, thus God's omnipotence over all powers in heaven and on earth. I guess we have to keep in mind that in the Old Testament, they had to go to the temple in Jerusalem. It wasn't like we have a church down every street. They had to go to that temple. Verse 2, longs, faints, sings for. The psalmist is consumed with his happy but intense desire to worship God in the temple. Verse 3, sparrow, swallow. The psalmist admires these birds who were able to build their nests in the temple courtyards near the altars of God. Verse 4, blessed. This word is used 3 times, verse 4, 5, and 12, to describe the happiness of those who, like the sons of Korah, lodged around the house of God. 1 Chronicles 9:27. Verse 5, Valley of Baca. Baca can be translated as weeping or balsam tree, Balsam. The valley was an arid place on the way to Jerusalem. They make it a place of springs. The pilgrims traveling to a festival worship at Jerusalem turn an arid valley into a place of joy. I guess there would have been like extreme excitement as as all of them traveled together to the temple. Verse 7, from strength to strength, anticipation of joyous worship of God in Jerusalem overcame the pilgrims' natural weariness in their difficult journey. Verse 9, behold our shield, a metaphor for the king, who also would have participated in a festival at the temple. And you can find Hosea 4:18 as a reference and Psalm 47:9. The face of your anointed. The king is regularly described as God's anointed. The psalmist thus prays that God would look upon the king with favor, blessing his reign with prosperity. Verse 10, the doorkeeper. One day, standing at the door of the temple, or just being even near, even if not inside, was better than 1,000 days fellowshipping with the wicked. I like that. One day standing at the door of the temple, or just being near, even if not inside, was better than 1,000 days fellowshipping with the wicked. Verse 11 and the final one, sun and shield. This pictures God's overall provision and protection. Any thoughts?
When you were on verse 7, when you were reading about the strength to strength,
Mm-hmm.
the anticipation of joyously worshiping God in Jerusalem overcame the pilgrims' natural weariness in their difficult journey. It just made me picture in my mind just a whole group of people just walking together or riding or however they got there. Just a whole bunch of people just going at one time in a group. And, they're just looking forward to going. They might be tired from traveling, but they're just looking forward to being there, just as a group.
Yeah, it kind of I think about, again, my post the other day about welfare and how we are so disconnected from the fact that our neighbors are the ones who provide it and that we should be grateful and not abuse it, blah, blah, blah. I feel the same way about church. Are we excited to come to church? If we all came into worship with the same heart and excitement, what a difference that worship experience would be compared to just showing up because that's what you do on Sunday.
Yes.
Are we excited about the opportunity and the privilege and the honor to be able to go into a house and worship the Lord? Um, or are we just so spoiled that we just take it for granted and we're ungrateful?
Did anybody with the concordance like Kathy and Kim? I'm sorry, if someone read it, I missed it. The one for verse 11. Did anyone read that one?
Read it again.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, sorry.
Go ahead though. Read it again. It's
Well,
great.
if you read it, God does not promise to give us everything we think is good, but he will not withhold what is permanently good. He will give us the means to walk along his path, but we must do the walking. When we obey him, he will not hold anything back that will help us serve him. Sorry, Kim, if you read it previously.
Nope, I like that.
I think it's good, especially since we're having discussion. All right, Kathy.
The phrase appears before God in Zion in verse 7 suggests that this psalm was penned by a Jewish man who could not go to Jerusalem to celebrate one of the 3 annual feasts. And there are references to Exodus. For 40 years after their exodus from Egypt, the Jews were a wandering people, but even after they had moved into the promised land, the 3 feasts reminded them that they were still pilgrims on this earth. And pilgrims on this earth, as are God's people today. A vagabond has no home. A fugitive is running from home. A stranger is away from home. A pilgrim is heading home.
Mm-hmm.
Psalmist's inability to attend a feast did not rob him of the blessing of fellowship with the Lord. All who are true pilgrims can make the same 3 affirmations that he made. My delight is in the Lord, verses 1-4. In his opening statement, the psalmist said 2 things. The temple is beautiful, and the temple is beloved by all who love the Lord. It was the dwelling place of the Lord, his house, the place where his glory dwelt. Although God doesn't live today in man-made buildings, we still show special reverence toward edifices dedicated to him. We can worship God anytime and anywhere, but special places and stated rituals are important in structuring our worship experience. The important thing is that we have a heart devoted to the Lord, a spiritual appetite that cries out for nourishing fellowship with the Lord. The psalmist cried out for God with his entire being. He envied the birds that were permitted to nest in the temple courts near the altar, as well as the priests and Levites who lived and worked in the sacred precincts. How easy it is for us to take for granted the privilege of worshiping the living God, a privilege purchased for us on the cross. My strength is in the Lord, verses 5-8. Though he had to remain at home, the psalmist's heart was set on pilgrimage, and the very map to Jerusalem was written on that heart. His love for God and his house helped him make right decisions in life so that he did not go astray.
Kathy, can you back up just 1 minute?
Yeah.
About we shouldn't, what about the privilege? We shouldn't,
That Jesus purchased.
yeah, right before that. How did he say that?
How easy it is for us to take for granted the privilege of worshiping the living God, a privilege purchased for us on the cross.
Okay, can you do that again, but slower?
How easy it is for us.
Okay, how easy it is for us
to take for granted
to take for granted
the privilege of worshiping
the privilege Privilege
Privilege.
Thank you. The privilege
of worshiping the living God.
Hang on, worshiping the living God.
A privilege purchased,
Privileged, a privilege purchased
for us on the cross.
for us on the. Thank you.
Okay. A geographic site named the Valley of Baca is nowhere identified in Scripture. Baca is a Hebrew word meaning balsam tree, and the sap of this tree oozes like tears. The Valley of Baca is a name for any difficult and painful place in life where everything seems hopeless and you feel helpless, like the pit of despair. The people who love God expect to pass through this valley and not remain there. They get a blessing from the experience and they leave a blessing behind. Like Abraham and Isaac, they dig a well, and like Samuel and Elijah, they pray down the rain. It's wonderful to receive a blessing, but it's even greater to be a blessing and transform a desert into a garden. True pilgrims go from strength to strength and trust God to enable them to walk a step at a time and work a day at a time. They are people of prayer who keep in communion with the Lord, no matter what their circumstances may be. Blessed are those whose strength is in you. Verse 5. My trust is in the Lord, verses 9 to 12. From pleading, hear my prayer, in verse 8, the psalmist then lifted his petitions to the Lord, beginning with a prayer for the king in verse 9. A shield is a symbol of both the Lord and Israel's anointed king. But why pray for the king? Because the future of the messianic promise rested with the line of King David, and the psalmist wanted the Messiah to come. Believers today should pray faithfully for those in authority. When you walk by faith, you put the Lord and his will first, and you keep your priorities straight. This is the Old Testament version of Matthew 6:33 and Philippians 1:21.
What is verse 10?
Yeah, verse 10.
What are those addresses again?
Matthew 6:33 and Philippians 1:21.
Thank you.
According to the inscription, this psalm is associated with the sons of Korah, who were Levites assigned to guard the threshold of the sanctuary. And there's a reference to 1 Chronicles 9:19. An important and honorable office. Their ancestor rebelled against God and Moses and was slain by the Lord. Korah's children were not killed because of their father's sins, but continued to serve at the sanctuary. The psalmist didn't aspire to a high office. Gatekeeper in 1 Chronicles 9:19 is not the same word as doorkeeper in this verse 10. That was a note there. The psalmist didn't aspire to a high office, but was willing to sit at the threshold of the temple just to be close to the Lord. To men and women of faith, the Lord is all they need. He is to them what the sun is to our universe, the source of life and light. Without the sun, life would vanish from the earth, and without God, we would have neither physical life nor spiritual life. God is our provision and our protection. He is the giving God, and he gives grace and glory, grace for the journey and glory at the end of the journey. If we walk by faith, then whatever begins with grace will ultimately end with glory. God does not give us everything we want, but he bestows upon us all that is good for us, all that we need. Although times of solitude and spiritual retreat can be very beneficial to us spiritually, believers today have constant open access into the presence of God because of the shed blood of Jesus Christ and his constant intercession for us in heaven. Do we delight in the Lord and seek him? Do we depend on his strength? Do we walk and work by faith? Are we among those who walk uprightly? The end.
I'm feeling emotional about this psalm.
Powerful.
Yeah, there was something that you read. It said something here not too long ago. God gives grace for glory and something for the end of the journey.
He is the giving God, and he gives grace and glory. Grace for the journey and glory at the end of the journey.
Okay, thank you.
Great. We get to Tony. I just want to say before I start, Tony, that Jess, I know that you have to leave early, but you're going to miss out on the trivia question, and you could have been the winner, but I mean, we'll not know now. Okay, 84. 1 to 4. The psalmist expresses his longing to be in the courts of the Lord's dwelling place, his house. References to the temple. Ultimately, his desire was to be in God's presence, which should be the longing of all those who love God. He repeatedly refers to God as the Lord of armies in 84 1, 3, also 84 8 and 12. The all powerful one who commands hosts of the unconquerable angelic forces. The all powerful one who commands hosts of the unconquerable angelic forces. 5 through 7, the psalmist affirms that blessings come to those who find their strength in God alone. He recharges their spiritual batteries so they can go from strength to strength. Prioritizing God's presence through his word is a means of finding spiritual refreshment and vigor. 8 through 10. The psalmist prays for God's favor on his anointed one, the king who leads his people. He then expresses the exceeding joy to be found in communion with God. One day with him is better than 1,000 days elsewhere. To stand at the entrance of God's house is better than to live in the tents of wicked people. In other words, the psalmist would rather be found serving God than serving self. Those who have tasted the goodness of God know this is true, this to be true. 11 and 12. The Lord's favor and honor are available to those who live with integrity. His blessings provide both provision and protection, shining on them like rays of the sun and sheltering them like a shield. Thus, the psalmist looks forward to the pilgrimage. Is that where he used the word pilgrimage? To Jerusalem to gather with God's people at his temple to enjoy his presence. Today, believers have the privilege of enjoying God's presence through his Holy Spirit who dwells in us, making us God's temple individually and collectively. See Romans 8:9 and 1 Corinthians 3:16, 6:19, Ephesians 2:21. His presence enables us to experience his provision and protection in our lives. The end. I don't know if mine used pilgrimage. Where does yours have pilgrimage?
It's in verse 5. Mine's in verse 5.
Well, it says 11 through 12. Yours is in verse 5.
I have it in 5.
Mm-hmm.
My 5 says, "Blessed are those whose strength is in you, in whose heart are the highways to Zion." I don't know that I like my version.
Mine has pilgrimage in 5.
Is there anything in 11 and 12?
I'm not seeing the word pilgrimage there.
Mine
Okay.
only says walk with integrity in at like the end of 11.
I mean, I guess it means the same thing, but I kind of like, I guess because it's standing out because when Kathy read, she read all the different types of, where pilgrimage was going back home.
Mm-hmm.
I liked that. Kathy, do you have that handy?
Yeah.
See if I can find it here.
I wanted to write down the time and then I didn't. Maybe you could just take a picture even.
No, she just said a pilgrim is heading home.
Yeah, and I liked it though that it defined all the other types of like
Yeah.
traveling too.
First paragraph in the first line of 966, Kathy.
Mom's on it.
The first paragraph.
At the top on the left side.
Oh, okay. I found it. A vagabond has no
VAG
VAGABOND.
VAG
BOND.
BOND.
A vagabond has no home.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
A fugitive is running from home.
Running from home.
A stranger is away from home.
Okay.
A pilgrim is heading home. That's it.
Thank you. Any other thoughts? Questions? So basically this whole thing is like a pilgrimage though, isn't it? All right. If there are no another easy one. You guys will be yelling at this at me.
I'm not missing it. I'm
I noticed. Okay. Lorna, you're still muted.
Unmute, Julie. Just in case
Okay.
you know the answer.
Everybody's going to know this one. In which book is the Christian armor listed?
Romans.
Corinthians.
Yeah, yeah.
Ephesians.
Who said
Oh, my.
Ephesians?
Claudia.
Claudia, you get the gold star. It is Ephesians
Whoa.
6, 10 through 17. The Christian armor is how we defend ourselves against Satan and evil forces. And we
Good job, Claudia.
Good job, Claudia. We are on to a new card. I'm going to go look for extra hard cards for when we need new ones. All right, ladies, this concludes the reading of God's Word for today. Until tomorrow.
For sure.
All right.
Have a great day.
Chrissy, can
You
you
all
stay on
too.
this